Imagine pulling up to your dream home in a quiet American suburb, keys in hand, only to have a clipboard-wielding tyrant scream that you're a criminal and summon the cops before you've even unpacked a single box. That's how my nightmare started in Willow Creek Estates. A picture-perfect neighborhood that hid a suffocating web of absurd rules and one woman's iron-fisted delusion of power. I rolled into Willow Creek on a crisp autumn morning. The kind where the leaves crunch under your tires and the air smells like fresh-cut grass mixed with suburban superiority. I just closed on a modest 2-story colonial, white picket fence. Wraparound porch. The works, after years of scraping by as a freelance journalist exposing small-town scams. This was supposed to be my fresh start. Away from the chaos of city deadlines. But as I popped open the U-Haul's back door, a voice pierced the air like a faulty smoke alarm. Stop right there. You have no right to be here. I've already notified the authorities. I turned to see her, Evelyn Hargrove. Late 50s. Pearls choking her neck. Khakis starched to within an inch of their life. And a smile that could curdle milk. She was striding up my driveway like she owned the block. Which, in her mind, she probably did. Excuse me? I said, setting down a lamp box. Who the hell are you? I'm Evelyn Hargrove, president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, she replied. Her tone dripping with that fake politeness reserved for telemarketers and bad bosses. And this property requires HOA vetting before any occupancy. You could be anyone, a squatter. A fraud. I've seen the papers, they're probably photoshopped. I chuckled, pulling out my deed from the glove compartment. Ma'am, this is stamped by the county clerk. I own this place free and clear. She waved it away like it was junk mail. Ownership is one thing, but standards are another. We don't just let riffraff waltz in and lower property values. Before I could respond, she had her phone out, dialing with the efficiency of a drill sergeant. Yes. Sheriff. This is Evelyn from Willow Creek HOA. There's an intruder unloading suspicious items at 47 Maple Lane. Send someone immediately. He looks shifty. Shifty? I was in jeans and a flannel, looking like every other guy moving furniture on a Saturday. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, but no one dared step out. It was like the whole street was under some invisible gag order. 15 minutes later, a patrol car cruised up. Lights off but presence heavy. Deputy Ramirez stepped out, rubbing his temples like this was his third call of the day. He checked my ID. The deed. And sighed. Miss Hargrove. Everything checks out. He's the rightful owner. Her face tightened, that polite mask cracking just a hair. But deputy, our bylaws require an orientation session. He hasn't attended. Ramirez shot her a look that said he'd heard this song before. Bylaws don't trump property law. Ma'am. Have a nice day. As he drove off, Evelyn turned to me with eyes like daggers. This isn't over. We have rules for a reason, to keep order. I nodded politely. But inside, I was already filing this away. I'd dealt with bullies in my reporting days. The kind who hid behind paperwork. This one just wore sensible shoes. The first few days were deceptively calm. Willow Creek looked idyllic, uniform lawns, matching mailboxes in HOA-approved navy blue. Not a weed in sight. But there was an undercurrent, like the hum of a fridge that's about to break. I waved at a neighbor raking leaves, old Mr. Patel, and he froze. Then scurried inside without a word. Odd. But I shrugged it off. Then the notices started arriving, tucked neatly under my doormat like unwanted gifts. The first, violation, unauthorized vehicle parking, Section 9C. Fine, $400. My truck was in the driveway. Exactly where it should be. I flipped through the HOA handbook I'd found in the closing docs, no Section 9C. The second came 2 days later, non-compliant exterior lighting, Section 5D. Fine, $250. My porch light was the same dim bulb that had been there for years. I laughed it off at first. But the third one made my blood simmer, hostile conduct toward community members, Section 12A. Fine, $350. The offense? Excessive waving and eye contact. Interpreted as intimidation. Intimidation? From a friendly wave? It was absurd. Like fining someone for breathing too loudly. Evelyn's signature was at the bottom. All loops and flourishes. As if she were signing the Declaration of Independence. I started hearing whispers when I grabbed mail. "She's got it out for you," a woman named Sarah murmured one evening. Glancing over her shoulder. Called me aggressive for planting tulips that weren't neutral-toned. I nodded. Keeping my face neutral. Sounds rough. Inside, though, I was observing. Piecing it together. Evelyn wasn't just petty, she was a master of weaponized bureaucracy. Turning everyday life into a minefield. Rumors spread like weeds she wouldn't allow. I was a troublemaker, a deadbeat who'd forged my deed. People avoided eye contact. And one night, I overheard kids whispering. "Mom says the new guy's gonna get evicted." It stung. But I stayed silent. Documenting everything, photos of notices. Timestamps. Even audio notes on my phone. Patience was my weapon, I'd learned that from busting corrupt officials. One afternoon, I bumped into Mrs. Jenkins at the community park, benches perfectly spaced. Of course. She was feeding ducks. But her hands shook. "Evelyn fined me $150 for unauthorized wildlife interaction," she confided. Said it encouraged vermin. Now I sneak breadcrumbs. We shared a bitter laugh. The kind that masks fury. "Why doesn't anyone push back?" I asked casually. Her eyes darted. "She controls the board. The funds. Threatens lawsuits. We're all just trying to live." That night, alone on my porch, I dove deeper. Online forums buzzed with HOA horror stories. But Willow Creek's records? Sparse. I cross-referenced the notices against the bylaws, fonts mismatched. Sections invented. Evelyn was fabricating rules like a bad fanfiction writer. It wasn't sloppy, it was sinister. A way to keep everyone off balance and paying up. The harassment ramped up like a bad sequel. Notices piled up, improper grass length, Section 3F. Fine, $200. My lawn was mowed to the exact HOA spec, I'd measured it with a ruler just to be sure. Then came the doozy, suspected illicit activity, Section 11B. Fine, $500. Based on unexplained evening lights. Possibly signaling contraband. It was my reading lamp. I could have exploded. But instead, I smiled inwardly. Her overreach was getting comical. Like a cartoon villain tying themselves in knots. I started chatting more with neighbors. Subtle probes over fences. "Hey, Tom. Ever get fined for your barbecue?" Tom, a burly mechanic, grunted. "Yeah. $300 for odor pollution." Said my ribs smelled too ethnic. We chuckled darkly. But his eyes held real fear. "She emails the whole street if you fight back. Calls you disruptive." Piece by piece, the mosaic formed. Evelyn had been HOA president for a decade. Unchallenged. No elections in years, scheduling conflicts, she'd claim. Dues vanished into maintenance, but the playground swings rusted. And streetlights flickered. One evening, sipping coffee, I hacked into public records, legally. Of course, journalist perks. Boom, the HOA's state registration lapsed 4 years ago. It was a phantom entity. No legal standing. Evelyn was collecting fees off the books. A solo act in a play no one else knew was scripted. My heart raced. This wasn't neighborhood drama, it was embezzlement wrapped in politeness. I reached out to an old contact. Lisa from the state auditor's office. "Send me what you've got," she said. I compiled dossiers, scanned notices. Neighbor statements, anonymized at first. Bank trails showing dues funneled to her consulting firm. The absurdity peaked when Evelyn knocked one sunny afternoon. Her face a mask of concern. "Mr. Riley, I've heard rumors you're spreading dissent. That's against Section 14E, Community Harmony." I leaned on the doorframe. "Come. Really? Show me that section." She faltered. Clipboard trembling slightly. "It's implied. For the greater good." "Greater good like your new security cameras? Paid with our dues?" Her eyes narrowed. "How dare you accuse me of impropriety? I'm protecting values." I shut the door gently. But inside, I was grinning. Her excuses were gold, me and my gold. Neighbors started confiding more, fines for loud breathing during yoga. $100 for non-approved bird feeders. It was hilarious in its horror. Like laughing at a funeral. The tension built. I knew she sensed something. One night, a rock shattered my window, anonymous. But her style. I reported it. But the deputy just sighed. "Evelyn's called us on you twice this week for suspicious lurking in your own yard." The storm broke on a Thursday, when state investigator Marcus Hale arrived. Badge gleaming under the midday sun. I tipped him off with my files. And he came loaded, warrants for records. Subpoenas in hand. We met at my place first. He flipped through my evidence. Whistling. "This is textbook fraud. Ghost HOA. Siphon funds, over $22,000 traced to personal accounts." We marched to Evelyn's McMansion, flawless facade. But the vibes screamed control freak. She answered the door in her power blazer. Smile plastered on. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" Marcus flashed his ID. "Miss Hargrove. We're here for HOA financials and registration docs." Her composure cracked like cheap porcelain, eyes widening in shock. Then fury. "This is harassment. Everything's in order, records are being audited." "Audited by whom?" Marcus pressed. Voice steady. "Your cousin's firm. The one you paid with community money?" She clutched her pearls, literally. "How dare you? I maintain standards. Without me, this place would be chaos, barbecues everywhere. Lawns overgrown. Neighbors gathered. Drawn by the spectacle. I stayed back, watching her unravel. "Ma'am." "Failure to comply is obstruction," Marcus said. She sputtered. "But property values. Order." It was pathetic. Her moral high ground crumbling into quicksand. By evening, the street was alive with chatter. People hauled out shoeboxes of old fines. Emails of threats. "She fined me $400 for my kid's lemonade stand, unlicensed commerce," one dad shared. Laughing bitterly. Marcus cataloged it all, diverted funds for her spa days. Legal fees to silence complaints. The numbers hit like punches, $25,000 embezzled. Laughter mixed with gasps, it was cathartic. Seeing her empire exposed as a house of cards. The emergency meeting that night packed the community center, folding chairs creaking under the weight of pent-up rage. Marcus presented slides, forged docs. Fake sections. A timeline of terror. This isn't governance, it's extortion under a smile. Testimonies poured out. Mr. Patel stood. Voice steady, she made me fear my own shadow. Find 4 ethnic decor, my Diwali lights. Sarah added. Turn friends into spies. We stopped talking. Afraid of gossip violations. I spoke last. Casual but cutting, Evelyn didn't enforce rules, she invented them to play God. Stole our money. Our peace. All while preaching community. The room simmered. Then Evelyn rose. Voice shrill, ungrateful. I built this. Who else would keep the riffraff out? There it was, the slip. Admitting control over compassion. Marcus sealed it, criminal charges pending, fraud. Embezzlement. Harassment. The vote to dissolve her board was unanimous. She stormed out. Face a mask of humiliated rage. Muttering about lawsuits that never came. In the aftermath, Willow Creek breathed again. We held real elections, transparent. No shadows. I stepped up as interim VP. Alongside Sarah and Tom. Focusing on actual fixes, new playgrounds. No more nonsense fines. Evelyn pled guilty months later, restitution. $20,000 penalty. Lifetime HOA ban. Justice felt like a slow burn. Satisfying in its thoroughness. Lawns grew a bit wilder. Barbecues fired up without fear. Kids laughed freely. The air lost its tension. Replaced by real neighborly chatter. My porch became a hangout spot. Where we'd share stories and mock the old sections over beer. A year on. The state used our case in training manuals, our farce became a cautionary tale. I watch sunsets now. Coffee in hand. The suburb alive with unscripted life. Peace isn't silence, it's freedom from tyrants and pearls. So, was Evelyn the real villain? Or just a product of a system that lets petty power corrupt? Would you have stayed silent or fought back tooth and nail? Drop your thoughts below, let's debate who truly owns community.